In the early 20th century, Russia was a land of extremes, unimaginable wealth, and unbearable poverty. A vast empire ruled by a single man, a Tsar believed to be chosen by God. But beneath the surface, something was breaking, and in 1917, it all exploded. This is the story of how an empire that stood for over 300 years collapsed in a matter of days. For centuries, the Romanov dynasty ruled Russia with absolute power. At the top stood Tsar Nicholas II, the last emperor. He believed deeply in his divine right to rule, but he was unprepared for the storm that was coming. Russia was not a modern nation. While Europe industrialized, millions of Russian peasants lived in poverty, hungry, exhausted, and forgotten. Factories rose in cities like Petrograd, but with them came harsh working conditions, long hours, and rising anger. The empire was vast, but fragile. In the early 1900s, unrest was growing. In 1905, thousands of peaceful protesters marched to the Winter Palace, hoping to plead for reform. Instead, they were met with gunfire. Bloody Sunday shattered the illusion of a caring Tsar. Trust was broken, fear turned into rage. Although Nicholas introduced limited reforms, it was too late, too little. The people had begun to question everything. Then came World War I. Russia entered the war with pride, but quickly fell into disaster. The army was poorly equipped. Soldiers went into battle without rifles, without boots, without hope. Millions died. Back home, food shortages grew worse. Cities starved. Bread lines stretched for miles. Yet the Tsar remained distant, out of touch with the suffering of his people. And when Nicholas left to command the army himself, he made a fatal mistake. With the Tsar away, power fell to his wife, Empress Alexandra, and behind her stood a mysterious figure, Grigory Rasputin, a self-proclaimed holy man, trusted by the royal family, hated by nearly everyone else. Rumors spread that Rasputin controlled the throne. Corruption grew, confidence collapsed. Even the nobility began to turn against the Tsar. In 1916, Rasputin was murdered, but it changed nothing. The empire was already unraveling. In early 1917, Petrograd reached its breaking point. Workers went on strike. Women marched for bread. Crowds filled the streets. Then the soldiers refused to fire. Instead, they joined the people. This was the moment everything changed. The Tsar lost control of his army, and without the army, he had nothing. In March 1917, Nicholas II abdicated the throne. 3 centuries of Romanov rule ended. Without a battle, without a final stand. Just gone. A new government, old problems. A provisional government took power, promising democracy and reform, but they made one critical mistake. They continued the war. The people were exhausted. They wanted peace, food, and land. Instead, they got more suffering. Meanwhile, a new force was rising. In April 1917, a man returned from exile, Vladimir Lenin, leader of the Bolsheviks. He promised 3 simple things: peace, land, bread. His message spread like wildfire. The Bolsheviks gained support among workers, soldiers, and peasants. They didn't want slow reform, they wanted revolution. In October 1917, the Bolsheviks made their move. Under Lenin's leadership, they seized key locations across Petrograd, bridges, railways, government buildings. Then they stormed the Winter Palace. The provisional government fell in a single night. It was swift, almost silent, but its impact would shake the world. The fate of the Tsar. Nicholas II and his family were held under house arrest. For months, their future remained uncertain. Then, in July 1918, in a basement, in the dead of night, the entire royal family was executed. No trial, no escape. The Romanov dynasty was erased. A new era begins. The Bolsheviks took full control. Russia descended into civil war, Reds versus Whites. Millions more would die before it ended.